Wow, man. I mean, what a I don't even know how to start the video. We alerted. I mean, first of all, if you guys were following me on Twitter, you guys made a bunch of money. Like, so many of you guys made so much money, man. It's just amazing. I alerted Microsoft calls; those were up 50%. Tesla calls; those were up 70%. The QQQ calls; those were up 30%. HD calls 15%. Nvidia calls 30%. So today was just an amazing day. We made lots of money. We caught this bottom together, took profits, man. This is the second week of the trading year, and the first week we completely destroyed it. Now the start of the second week is even better, and it's like this is just a blessing, man. Like, this is such an amazing start to the year so far, man. I mean, yeah, all right, let's get right into the video. We're going to go over the SPY, the NASDAQ, the IWM, the 30-year bond, crude oil, and of course, Bitcoin and Ethereum. So without further ado, let's get started, man. All right, first of all, if you guys are not following me on Twitter, make sure to go ahead and do that. I post all of my plays literally completely for free. You could look at the comments on any of my posts here. You could look at most of the comments on YouTube. I literally do this completely for free. This isn't a lie. And a lot of these plays work out really, really well. So definitely go ahead and do that. So number one, tomorrow, Tuesday, is going to be very, very important. Fed Chair Powell testifies at 10 a.m. So it could essentially go one of two ways. He could testify and it'll be very, very bearish for the market, which technically, you know, like, we bought these dips, we profited a lot on these dips. I would not mind if the market kaputs and falls again, so we could buy the dips again. But what I think is most likely going to end up happening is it could be a bit choppy, but then I do feel that Jerome Powell is going to end up being very, he's going to basically say things that is going to be bullish for the market again. Because, you know, statistically speaking, every single time that he speaks, essentially, has been very, very good for the market. So we have the numbers and the statistics on our side in terms of that. So, I mean, yeah, man, I hope when he speaks, he's going to say like things about, oh yeah, we're not going to start tapering huge amounts anytime soon. Interest rates are not going to change anytime soon, blah, blah, blah. But just in case, be wary, be very, very careful tomorrow. Tomorrow is not a day to, if we open up, for example, if we gap up tomorrow and we look very, very bullish, it is not the time to go long, okay? Tomorrow can be a perfect opportunity for many people to go short, because right now, today, all of the people that missed out on today's move, they're going to have FOMO for tomorrow, okay? So psychologically, a lot of retail traders are going to want to go long if we open up tomorrow. All right, so be careful about that, because hedge funds and banks are going to take advantage of people's emotions, and they're going to make the market potentially seem very, very bullish and then drop it. That could happen. So always be careful about that. He speaks at 10 a.m. Cool. All right, so now let's go over the SPY. So this was this was just a ridiculous intraday move. So I mean, just looking at it, this does not look the most bullish, right? Because we don't, generally speaking, when you see a huge wick like this to the downside, this was basically an intraday $10 move, more than $10 move. And we came back, retested the 786% fib in a day, and then we came back and we closed essentially at the 50% fib. So this is just so ridiculously strong. What a blessing of a day, honestly. I was saying in yesterday's Sunday's YouTube video, I was saying that there would be more downside potential, and clearly that's exactly what happened. But then intraday on Twitter, I alerted that I was getting into certain calls, and all of those calls hit beautifully. So technically we could come back and retest these levels to see if this is an actual bottom here. But overall, we profited so much today, so that's very, very good. So right now you can see that a main level of resistance currently is 465.56, and we closed right above that level, I believe. Right below that level. So technically we're at that level of resistance. It's still decent, right? But now I'm hoping that we gap up tomorrow. So yeah, essentially the SPY super bullish. The next upward target is going to be 467 essentially, or sorry, 468.96. So 469 essentially, right? Which is also basically going to coincide with this 20 exponential moving average. Overall, the SPY looks very good. If this move continues, this was a beautiful bottom, right? But now, me personally, this does not look great. We could see in the past that whenever there was a huge wick, right, we do continue on to the upside, but then eventually we come back and retest it. So hopefully we don't come back and retest it early on, right? Hopefully we continue going on in the short term. But regardless, I'm not sure if we are going to come back and fill this, but overall, the other indices are showing tons of strength, and we're going to talk about that as well. But right now, the MACD is showing strength, and the RSI is showing somewhat some strength as well. So the SPY looks good. All right. There's not much else to say about the SPY currently. Now let's go ahead and take a look at crude oil. So crude oil held decently as well. That's really it. I mean, there's not really much else to talk about. It held 77.88, and the main level of support that it needs to hold is this 77 level. So as long as 77 holds, the SPY is going to be held up as well by crude oil, and that's exactly what's been happening. The reason why the SPY did not do as badly as the NASDAQ or the IWM is because of the strength in crude oil. So currently, as long as crude oil stays above 77, it can continue going on higher. The only issue that I see here is that the MACD is overbought, but it is a good sign that the RSI is starting to fall. So, you know, that's what we want to see. I would love to see a retest of 77 and then continuation on higher. But there's my analysis currently on crude oil, right? And now let's go ahead and quickly take a look at the IWM. So the IWM clearly does not want to have a good month, but we caught the bottoms on other stuff, so that's fine. We can see that it closed above this trend line here, which is very good. Tomorrow, this trend line support level is going to be approximately 214.50. But overall, this was a bullish close on IWM. We came back and retested this support level that I was showing in yesterday's video. Obviously, it's not the cleanest level of support, but it came back, retested a bit, right? And then it closed above it. Obviously, you can see that the MACD is oversold. The RSI is moving downwards. Both good things. It means that there's tons of more room to the upside, and that's exactly what we want to see. So now for the IWM, it is going to be very important for us to cross and close above 217.19 and this 218.11 level right here. Okay, if we can close above those two levels, that is going to be amazing because then the next key level of resistance is going to approximately be this 20 exponential moving average, which is going to basically be at 219. Then that's when the fun can really begin, because if we start to really start skyrocketing on the IWM while the MACD does not show that much strength, that's what we're looking for now. For all of the indices, we want to see the MACD move very slightly. So we want to see huge movements in the price action of stocks, but we want to see this MACD just creep up very slowly. Okay, that's basically what we're looking for. If that happens in the next few days, that is going to be super bullish, and hopefully that's exactly what happens. So right now, the IWM is, it closed above resistance. Very good close. The indicators are showing that there's tons more room to the upside, and those were the levels. All right, so there's my analysis on the IWM. Now let's go ahead and take a look at why I alerted all of those bottoms. Let's take a look at the large tech stocks, the 30-year bond, and the NASDAQ. All right, so this is the 30-year bond, and I want to tell you guys, basically, I want to walk you through what I was thinking about intraday. So during the day, the 30-year bond, obviously it closed green, right? But it was not green, it was red. So it was trading at like 154, 155 area down here. So I saw that it was holding support really, really well. And of course, you know that if the 30-year bond is going down, then that means that the NASDAQ also goes down. And if the 30-year bond is starting to show strength, then generally the NASDAQ begins to show strength as well. Okay, so I saw that we were beginning to hold this level of support. So that was the first bullish sign on the NASDAQ. But while we were holding this level of support, the NASDAQ just kept on dropping and dropping and dropping. So I was like, okay, we need to look at the larger stocks in the tech sector, right? So I looked at Apple and I saw Apple was at a perfect level of support. This was literally, I think I circled this Sunday. Yeah, I circled this Sunday and I said I would love to get into Apple at this support level. So that's exactly what happened. For Apple, we came back to this level of support at 168.34. Literally touched it. Where did we go? The low of 168.17. So we were 17 cents off. That held. And I saw that this holding was a very, very good sign. So then I was like, all right, what else is holding? Microsoft. Microsoft held a very important level of support as well. That's exactly why I entered these longs on Microsoft. And those calls were up over 50% today. So, you know, if you're swinging them, they're going to be up even more. So, I mean, yeah. So Microsoft was at support. Apple was at support. Amazon, literally at support. This is no joke. This is no joke. Literally, it touched this level of support. And it was literally perfect. So that level held. Amazon held. Microsoft. And, of course, now we had to look at Google. So Google was... Of course, I was showing you guys that it was very, very overextended outside of the lower level of the B band. All of these large trillion-dollar companies, I know that banks and hedge funds look for really, really good buying opportunities. When all four of these huge companies are at levels of support and those levels of support are holding, that is a beautiful opportunity to go long. So you can't just blindly look at... the indices, right? You have to look and dissect the stocks in the indices. So once more, we looked at Google, Apple, Amazon, and Microsoft. They were all super, super extended to the downside, and they were holding support beautifully. So that's why it made me more bullish. The 30-year bond was also holding support, and you know, it was holding these lows. So that's another reason why I was very, very bullish. And this was all before the 30-year bond even became green. All right. So, I mean, it's just beautiful. It worked out literally beautifully. We were watching those stocks for the past few days. We were looking to see, we were basically timing a bottom according to those other stocks. And that's exactly what happened today. It worked out really, really well. And yeah, man, it's beautiful. So now for the NASDAQ, clearly... Look at the NASDAQ. I mean, we were so overextended outside of the lower level of the B band here. And of course, you guys already know, if you guys have been here for a while now, whenever we are this overextended to the downside on the Bollinger Bands, when you're that algorithmically away from the standard deviation, it's a really, really good buying opportunity if the market is bullish. And currently, the market is still bullish. Unless there is a huge reason why tomorrow, unless the Fed says really, really bearish things tomorrow, we're still in the same, essentially the same market the same market environment. So all of these huge dips, where we're so algorithmically overextended to the downside, are amazing buy opportunities. The NASDAQ was basically sitting at this level of support as well. We did dip down below a bit. Below 370, we went to 369.31. Big whoop, right? But Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, and Google were all literally perfectly holding support. And that's another reason why I alerted 380 calls. Alerted 380 calls down at like, what? It was like 372, 373. I don't even remember. But these were up 30% as well. So, and I got these for February. So these were super, super safe. And intraday, as the market showed more and more strength, I started to alert, closer expiration date calls. And yeah, man, it was just an amazing day. Yeah, all right, so moving forward, right? Since the 30-year bond now closed green and it closed above this level of support, what we want to see is it to start to reclaim 157, which was this prior level of support here. All right, so that's number one. We wanted to see reclaim 157. And then for the NASDAQ, you can see currently right now on the MACD, we are extremely oversold, which is a very, very good sign. It means that there's still tons more room to the upside. The RSI is showing, you know, it's a bit stagnant. It doesn't, I mean, you can't really tell much right now. But again, I was showing you guys that the RSI being stagnant these past few days earlier was very, very bearish. Okay. And because it was very, very bearish, that's exactly why I kept on saying there was going to be a huge move to the downside potentially. And that's exactly what happened. So we waited for that downside move. I didn't buy any puts. I just alerted the longs afterward. So yeah, man, just patience. We waited for a really, really good buying opportunity. And that's exactly what we got. So right now, the fact that we closed above 380 is obviously very, very bullish. We could go back and retest 377 tomorrow. That would still not really be a huge bearish move. Okay. We had a intraday $11 move to the upside. And if we come back and, you know, retest $3 down, that's not the end of the world. Now, the next important levels of resistance is obviously going to be this 382 level. 382.80 level. And then this 385 level, essentially, for the NASDAQ. If we can start breaking above that, then the real level of resistance that I want to see us break above is that 387.35 level at the top of this wick here. If that can happen, then I really do think that we're just going to end up going back and making new all-time highs. But it all depends on what the Fed is going to say tomorrow. But overall, I mean, it looks like we just caught another bottom together. So it worked out. And yeah, man, I just yeah, what an amazing day. I don't even know what to say. But yeah, there's my analysis on the overall market. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the crypto market. So Bitcoin, obviously it's choppy now, right? I circled this line saying that we were going to come back and retest 39,600, and we basically we went to 39,650. Okay, so I'm $50 off. But yeah, so now it's going to be very, very interesting. Essentially, you can see Bitcoin is starting to cross above on the MACD, yet we are not closing above resistance. So this is telling me that that's very, very bearish. The next, essentially the level of resistance for tomorrow that we need to close above is going to be right here at 42,600. If we can close above 42,600 tomorrow, that's going to be bullish, and then that would send us essentially to 44,000. From 44 to 45,000, that is when the market is essentially going to have to make a decision. Are we going to continue going on higher, or are we just going to work off of this MACD and RSI oversold condition? And then essentially, if we show a lot of strength on the MACD and RSI to this move to 44, 45,000, that is going to be bearish, because it's basically we're using up all of the steam that we have to the upside to essentially barely break above any key levels of resistance. So if we start to move up really, really heavy on the indicators, yet it doesn't translate the same in the stock price, that's going to be very bearish. And then I essentially think we're going to break down below 40. But overall, long term, man, if you're buying right now at 41, this is eventually going to hit 100, in my opinion. So, yeah, I mean, this is just a long-term investment. So, but yeah, in terms of trading, yeah, man, these levels and everything are on point. Back here, when everyone was talking about Bitcoin was going to make a new all-time high, I kept on saying we were going to come back and retest the 45 and the 44,000 levels. Even while we were trading at 51, 52,000, I was still saying that we would come back and retest these two levels. And that's exactly what happened. So right now, I mean, look, we're at 41,700. So it's still a good time to average into your cheaper coins. And of course, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana. Those are my three main safer sort of longer term holds. And yeah, so there's that. Let's go ahead and take a look at Ethereum. So Ethereum, the MACD is not as bad as Bitcoin. So you can see Bitcoin's MACD right here is starting to really cross above, right? But whereas Ethereum, it's not as dramatic. Okay, so there's still tons more room to the upside on Ethereum's MACD, and it's a good sign that the RSI is still oversold. But now essentially, if 3,000 just needs to hold. All right, so if 3,000 holds, again, we have to reclaim this downtrend line. So if we reclaim this downtrend line tomorrow, that level is going to be around like 3,500, but that's a $500 move. I don't think that happens in a day on Ethereum yet. But yeah, overall, I think if Bitcoin, it's really tough to say at this point. I mean, it's a lot of people are just being patient, and I can see why. The indicators are oversold, so it should indicate that we should continue to go higher. If we can close above 32.35, that would be really good. And ideally, we don't want to see the MACD moving up too much. So if we can close above 32.35 and the MACD does not curl up as much, that would be very bullish. But essentially, yeah, I mean, we just have to take it one day at a time now. I was saying that we were bearish. Now we're bearish, but now it's a very important time for which direction the whales want to take it. In my opinion, we do bounce to levels of resistance. And then from here, depending on how much buying power we have, we can either come back and make new lows. So I think that's what's most likely going to end up happening. But of course, any of these lows, man, if we do get these lows again, if we get Ethereum below like 2,800, oh my God, that would be amazing. If we can get Bitcoin below 40, if we could get Bitcoin below 38, that would be amazing too. But right now is not the time to go short in the crypto markets. It's the time to buy dips. So I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys made some money today with me and together and stuff. Of course, if you guys enjoyed the video, please make sure to comment, like, subscribe, do all that good stuff, put on post notifications, and yeah, I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you.